Good morning, and I'd like to thank you for joining the QuickBooks Online Monthly Update webinar. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast, and good afternoon for those of you east of the Pacific time zone. My name is Wayne Daly, and I will be your host for today's webinar. I work in the care department or accountant support as a service and support specialist senior. On the national accounts team, I have a passion for improving processes to save time. I've been with Intuit for 4 years, and I'm in Tucson, Arizona. Today's agenda, welcome the attendees, and we're going to review the CPE credit information. We'll go over the learning objectives very quickly, accountant resource announcements, feature topics, and then we'll close the webinar. We're scheduled for 60 minutes today. We do have 4 presenters. We might go 5 or 10 minutes over. We do want to be mindful of your time. Your time is very important to us, but we do want to make sure that you do have all the information that's available to you. Today's webinar is computer audio only. There is no dial-in phone number. So this slide will stay on the screen for just a moment to let those who don't have sound know they need to contact the GoToWebinar support phone number that's listed at the bottom. While this slide is up, I do want to remind you to please use your question log. Your questions, your feedback, your observations, your voice is very important to us. It's how we drive what we're focusing change in the product and how we're driving to deliver to let you know that we are on your side. We are backing you to make sure that you are the champion for your clients. As I stated, today's today's event does offer a 1.0 hours of CPE credit. Those CPE certificates are emailed directly to you within 3 weeks of this training date. To the email address you registered at. So that's very important that we talk about that for a second, because I do sometimes get emails at intheknow@intuit.com saying, hey, where's my credit? I do have the ability to look them up. So if you have not received your CPE credit within 3 weeks after this event, please send me an email and let me know that you're looking for it. A helpful tip is add accountant_training@intuit.com to your approved email sender list. That will help to ensure that CPE credit doesn't bounce into your spam folder or your junk folder. So in order for us to have CPE credit, we have to have learning objectives. And today our learning objectives are to identify recent updates to QuickBooks and QuickBooks Online, that we have the ability to communicate the function of adding and using multiple logo files, understand how to automate tasks and create custom reminders, recognize the benefit of new Prep for Taxes product replacing trial balance, identify advantage of client overview to win new client business, and understand how to measure job profitability, including labor costs. Now, the very important thing about today is we are moving fast. I may speak fast. Something may disappear off the screen, like a link, like is what is listed here. The handouts contain all of the links to the features that we have today. If there's resources for you to go and view after this webinar, the link should be included in the handout. You can get to the handout through the GoToWebinar control panel by clicking the little piece of paper. It's usually the bottom icon, and there's only one handout. It should open as a PDF document or offer you the opportunity to download it. If for some reason you cannot get to it through the GoToWebinar control panel, please follow the link that's on the screen. And that is one of the things that our question team will respond to. If you say, I can't get the handout, how do I find it? They will provide you a link through the question log. A few resource announcements. We're going to talk about Accountant University, which provides free training events to accountants. That link is in the handout, but you do have webinars, in-person training events. I know that says coming in May. It's an old slide, and I apologize that I haven't updated it, and virtual conference events. It is updated. Please make sure you go check out that link. That is Accountants University. You can find that at www.qbtrainingevents.com or download that handout. That link is available there. When you're on that page, you'll see a link that says QuickBooks Tutorials up in the upper left-hand area. By clicking on that link, it's going to take you to a new page that will have training videos, very short videos. As you can see, what are QuickBooks apps, reconcile your accounts. They're about 1.5 to 2 minutes. very quick hit training. That's not only for you as the accountant. As you can see, I have small businesses selected. There's training videos. So this is a resource you can provide to your clients, making you the champion for the small business you support. That link is available in the handout. In addition, we have a new page that we've never presented here on In the Know, so we're going to take a minute about this. It's quickbooks.intuit.com/accountants/learn. It's the accountant resources page, and it's going to give you all the how-tos and answers for support for QuickBooks Online Accountant. Now, looking at it, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of information here for you, but if you notice, there's menus at the top. There's a main menu for small business accountants and learn and support, and there's a sub-menu, moving clients, accountant tools, apps, and add-ons. If you go to those, you can click on those, you'll get drop-down menus. So what we've done is created a resource so that you can see all of the resources that are available to you. As I previewed this when I was creating the document, it was a little fuzzy. So in the handout that we've spoken about, there is a detailed information for each one of those menu items. Go ahead and download that handout, and that'll have all that information for you. That's a handy resource to keep on hand. Next up, one of those items on there is moving clients online. As we're moving clients online, the tools and everything you need to help your clients get moved online are available from that Learn page. You just click on Moving Clients to Online, and you will have access to just step-by-step instructions on how to make that an easy transition for your clients. One other piece of information I want to provide to you, that you want to make sure that you verify and update your QuickBooks Online addresses to help avoid any potential issues using features. As I said, I work in the support department and the care department, and I've taken a few phone calls recently where if addresses aren't updated correctly within the program, it has caused some delays in making sure that you can work seamlessly. If you're using payments, merchant services, payroll, or any other features, wholesale billing, client apps, or automated sales tax, you want to make sure that you follow the instructions that are provided within that handout document. Detailed step-by-step instructions are provided in the handout. So I'm going to leave this up here because that is, again, that link, that bit.ly link that will give you access to those step-by-step instructions. And again, if I move off this slide and you can't find that handout by either the link or through the GoToWebinar control panel, please hit us up in the question log saying, hey, where do I find that handout? And we will provide you that link directly. Again, we're going to spend about 30 seconds on this slide just to let people know who can't hear my voice, why they can't hear my voice, and how to find out where the help is. They need to call that support number at the bottom. This gives me an opportunity to remind you that your voice is the more important voice. Your voice is why we're here doing what we do today. The In the Know webinar is run primarily so that we can get your voice about the features that we're presenting, let you know what's going on so that you have a heads up before your clients start calling you to say, what is this feature? You can say, yeah, I learned about that already. Let me explain to you what it is. Please use the question log to provide your feedback and questions about any of the features that you're seeing today. Now, if you have questions about other things that are outside of the presentation today, go ahead and give us a call at support, and an agent will be happy to walk you through whatever you need to have done. Today's program updates, we have 5 of them. I'm going to go through a very quick video on multiple logo gallery, and then we're going to have managed routines, trial balance refresh, client overview for accountants, and project profitability. So the first feature presentation today is about multiple logo gallery. You can use multiple logos within QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Online Accountant now. I do have a brief video. I'm going to go ahead and play that, and we're going to walk through the process together. So you would click on the gear and you go to custom form styles. Now, when you're on here, whether you edit an existing template or you go to new style, it's going to be the same experience. We're going to create a new one. So we're adding a name and we're going to call it Flash. And then we're going to click make logo edits. Now we click the plus sign at the bottom of the logo to get to the add logo screen. And then we pick which file we want to use and we watch it process and upload. As soon as it's processed, you want to make sure you click Save, and that will add it to this form. You click Done, and then you have a new template for the invoices. So to check that, we'll go to Sales and then go to Invoices and select an invoice, and then click on the Customize, which is where you change the template. Currently it's a bird, which is Superman. We've changed it to Flash, and we're going to preview it. We see that the Flash logo does appear on this template in the upper right-hand corner, but we don't really like the way it looks. So we're going to close it. We're going to go back to Customize, and then we're just going to use the standard. Print preview that, and that is the Aquaman logo. Detailed steps about this feature are included in the handout. So you want to make sure you download that handout. Our next presenter today is going to be speaking about routines for QuickBooks. And it's about how to automate tasks and create custom alerts in QuickBooks for things that we do often to save you time. Our presenter today is Tim Keber, and he is a product manager. He's a member of the QuickBooks Online team. He has a passion for experience design and art. He's been with Intuit for about a year, and he's in our Mountain View office. And I'd just like to say thank you, Tim, for presenting today.
Oh, thank you very much, Wayne, for having me. Excited to share this with everyone. All right. So yeah, I'll be sharing out on this new feature, and I'll be giving a demo and product. But real quick, before I do that, I want to tell a quick story. And I think this is one that'll resonate with a lot of folks here. So I want to talk about Linda. She's an accountant. About 2 years ago, she moved out to start her own firm. But before that, she had been working as part of a larger firm for about 10 years. And she's been killing it. She's already got a ton of clients of her own, and she offers a lot of bookkeeping and accounting services. So she will do payroll. She's even moved into consulting as well. Right now, with so many clients working on her own, her time's tight but manageable. So like all accountants, she's really looking to optimize her time in order to grow her business and take it to the next level. As she reflects upon how she can do that, she notices something. In her day-to-day routine, there's a lot of pattern that happens and a lot of repetition. So she has a lot of little tasks that she'll be doing for either herself or her clients that take up time and headspace, but are really just small manual tasks today. Things like reminding her clients' customers about overdue invoices, pulling monthly reports, or even just making sure data is synced across all the business tools her clients are using. So today I'll be showing a brand new feature that we're launching in QuickBooks Labs that will help folks like Linda and yourselves automate aspects of your routine. All right, so here I am in QBOA. As I mentioned, this is a Labs feature. What that means for folks who haven't seen this before, we have this link under the gear icon inside of both QBOA and QBO called QuickBooks Labs. This is a place where you can go and turn on our new beta features. So this feature will be living at the bottom of this list called Routines for QuickBooks. If you want to turn it on, you just have to flip this switch, and you can do that for both your own firm, and you'd have to do that individually for each one of your clients' companies as well. Once that's turned on, you'll notice a brand new link under the Tools section that'll let you manage aspects of your routine. So we come here, and the first thing you'll notice is we have a list of what we call templates. These are things that we know today a lot of accountants and small businesses are spending time on as part of their QuickBooks routines. And these are things that, by using these templates, you can start to automate. These are things like reminding yourself or your customers about invoices as they become overdue, maybe reminding yourself about upcoming bills, or sending out a thank you receipt after you mark an invoice as paid, or updating an invoice when it becomes overdue. So maybe you want to write something in the memo to reflect its overdue status. So these are the 4 that we're launching with, and I'll give a quick demo of some of these. And let's get started with this one. So you'll notice I do have an invoice in here that's about to become overdue tomorrow. So I'll just set up a routine here using this template that will remind us about that. So when you click try it out, you'll clone that template and you'll be presented with a set of default configurations that we think are pretty good. You can probably just save this and get started, or if you wanted to, you can tweak it. So you can rename this. You can go ahead and have this routine only apply for specific customers. So maybe you only want to remind specific customers about a past due invoice. You can customize how large this invoice needs to be in order for it to actually qualify for the reminder. And you can customize just when that reminder email gets sent out. So we have one that's going to be due tomorrow. So I'll just set this up for that. And I'll just have it apply for all customers here and for an invoice of any value. The next section you'll notice is where the reminder comes into play. And this is where you can customize exactly what goes out in the reminder message. So by default, we do have a default message here that we think is good, but you can tweak it however you want. one thing to call out is by using the hashtag or #, you can pull up a list of attributes from the invoice itself. So maybe you'd want to pass something like the total amount from that invoice into the actual reminder message. You can do that by typing the # and then typing in total amount. There's a list of many different fields that you could include. So we'll just go ahead and leave this here. If you click save, it won't be enabled. You'll actually have to come in and manually turn it on through this dropdown. So that's how you'll enable them, but you can save and enable it at the same time. Again, you can bring up this again to edit it or just straight up delete it here. Awesome. So because we have one that's overdue starting tomorrow, we do have this firing off for us. And if you notice, I can come over here into, this could be our, let's say the client's customer's Gmail account, and they would be getting this reminder message. So this has that total amount that we passed in using the #. This invoice was for $20, and just has the sample message passing in those fields from the invoice itself. We have 3 others that I didn't get a chance to demo. Would love for you all to turn this feature on and try those out and let us know what you think. If you do have any templates or anything you'd like to see enhanced about this experience, this is our first step. As I mentioned, this is really a beta program here, so we're really excited to hear everyone's feedback. But you can submit that directly to us through this link in the top for requests and feedback, and this actually gets sent right to a Slack channel that the whole team is watching day and night. So really excited to hear from everyone through this. All right, I'll go back to the slides. We can open it up for questions.
Awesome, Tim. Thank you very much. All right. So I do have questions. One of the questions that we saw come in, are these attributes, the month and et cetera, available in the reoccurring regular invoice email? Can we go back and look at that?
Yeah. So this is, okay, I see what, I think the question is actually about if you wanted to set up these using the traditional QBO recurring transaction feature. And if that's the question, if I'm understanding it correctly, no, these kind of dynamic fields are only available in here for right now. This is something we brought brand new to this feature, but we're really excited at the opportunity to potentially bring this to other things like the standard recurring invoices.
Awesome. Now, is this in QBO only, or does it also work in QBOA?
So this is available in both QuickBooks Online for your small business customers, as well as QBOA for yourself. So right now in this sample company here, I am using QBOA, but as I mentioned, since it is a labs feature, it's opt-in. So you will have to go into each of your clients' companies and enable it individually for each of them.
Okay. And can I get you to show me one more time? Let's go ahead and just on the landing page, on the overview page in a company, show me how to find this feature one more time, if you would, please.
Yeah, for sure. So this is under QuickBooks Labs. This is, again, just this place where we have our beta features. So that's through the gear icon. And our new feature is down at the bottom of the list here. We do have, if there's anything that you want to see again in terms of the demo, we do have a link to a video right here. You can watch that again. But then you just flip on this switch and that'll go ahead and turn it on for you. You'll see that new link in the gear icon after that.
All right. And when you send that reminder, when you create that reminder, and will it add a copy of the invoice in the reminder?
Not right now, but that's something we're looking to be able to quickly add, is the ability to attach the forms themselves. Right now, what we have is you can pass the fields from the invoice and kind of create a plain text email. But we don't have the option to add a PDF just yet, but it's definitely on our radar. Good question. Perfect.
And what is it, or do you have any expectation on when this manage routines will be out of beta or out of labs, actually, when it will become an integral part of the program?
Yeah, good question. So this is something that we're really looking at watching as a test over the period of the next month or so. From there, we'll be heavily watching how people are using this and what people are asking for. And from there, we'll devise a rollout plan. I think it really just depends on how we see people interacting with it, and if people are happy with how it is now, or if there's stuff that we really want to bring to it before we release it to everyone. Really just depends on the feedback we get. But right now we're thinking in terms of the beta program right now of time boxing that to about the next month or so.
Awesome. Very good. And is this live across all realms, or is this being rolled out?
Yeah, great question. So that's something I forgot to mention. So it's live for everyone in the US for right now. We're looking to bring it as quickly as we can to other English speaking countries across the world. But right now, it's just available for anyone in the US through that Labs tab.
Excellent. Excellent. Tim, thank you so much for presenting today. We really appreciate that. We're getting a lot of great questions. I look forward to sending that question log over to you so that you can interact with our accountants and let them know, provide answers to them.
Thanks, Wayne. Looking forward to it.
No problem. Now today our next presenter is going to be bringing to us some information about Trial Balance Refresh. It's a new look and feel for our Prep for Taxes product, which basically replaces the existing Trial Balance in QBO. Today's presenter is Kristen Thomas. And Kristen is a product manager, a member of our QBOA team, and she has a passion for building end-to-end ecosystem solutions for accountants. And she's been with Intuit for 10 years, and she is also in our Mountain View office. Thank you for presenting this morning, Kristen.
Sure thing. Thanks, Wayne. Hello, everyone. Glad to be here today and talking to you about our new product. Before we jump into the screenshots, just want to mention that, again, as Wayne mentioned, it is replacing our existing Trial Balance product, but it's not yet live. So you guys are getting a sneak peek at what we are hoping to launch near the end of the month in January. So jumping right in, just because it's hot off the press, I'll show you some screenshots of how we plan for the product to work. You'll notice we now call it Prep for Taxes, but we'll, for a short time, reference that it is replacing the Trial Balance. After it's been out for some time, we'll just go ahead and shift the name to only Prep for Taxes throughout the product. But the way to get to it is the way that you get to the Trial Balance product today. So as you can see on the client list, we have our own column here, as well as hopefully everyone on the line is using the Accountant Toolkit. Super helpful tool just for accountants here, and will be front and center at the top of the list. Once you're into the product, you'll see that we are organizing it as the balance sheet and profit and loss report. So we've spoken to a number of accountants just like you and heard that these two reports are sort of the natural starting point of the year-end tax process. We also, on the screen, let you change between the accounting methods. So we'll let you know whatever it's currently set to. And if you happen to change it, know that this is only affecting your view. It's not affecting the client's view of their books. And we often hear that accountants like to keep themselves in, say, the cash method, but maybe they're officially on the accrual method for purposes of filing. You no longer have to worry about kind of fighting with these views back and forth at the end of the year as you manage your taxes. You can keep those independent. So you also have the ability to expand all of the accounts to get into the detail by each individual account in your client's books. Under the actions column, we also give you some handy actions to be able to track your work, such as adding notes or adding attachments to these accounts to reference any documentation you might need to show the work that you've done for them. One other feature that we have built newly for the Prep for Taxes product is we're calling out all of the changes that are made to the books as you jump into the product and you're doing that work. This is especially helpful when your clients are in there making some unexpected changes as you're trying to reconcile and make sure everything is correct. We'll highlight those changes, and you can always click to view into those details, filter by user. Maybe it's your client, or maybe it's a member of your firm as well event. You can filter by edited, added, or deleted transactions. We also will give you a link to quickly edit those if, say, for example, your client accidentally backdated it into last year, but they intended to do it this year. You can fix it right then and there. And then just jumping back, if you accept changes, then at that time, we'll update your view in the balance sheet and profit and loss reports to include that information. So you remain in control of the data as you're working through it. Moving on. So that was under our Review and Adjust tab. In our Tax Mappings tab, we allow you to set the tax lines that each account should be mapped to. We do most of those automatically for you, but if there's any that we need your help in confirming what those are, those will be listed at the top, front and center, letting you know which accounts still need to be mapped to the form. We also make it really easy to edit the form that's selected for your client if, say, they've changed their business entity type or for whatever reason you need to switch to a different form. And this pencil icon makes it super easy to change the tax mappings if you need to do so. Once you click to either set or edit a account in your client's books where it's going to on the tax form, a drawer will slide in and you'll see that you get the entire list of the line items that you can choose on the tax form. We also have the ability to type ahead. So if you know that the line item contains the word income, we'll filter this list to all the line items with the word income in there to make it easy to find the line to send that amount to. And then once you're ready, everything is all set for the tax mappings. In the top right corner, we'll have a button where you can choose your next step of what you want to do with this information. So you can say create a new return if you haven't yet created one in our ProConnect Tax Online product. If we detect that you've already created a return over there, we'll also give the option where you can just update the numbers of that return. And we also have the ability to export this information as a CSV file, which happens to be in the same format that is accepted by our Lacert program. That said, it's a pretty simple generic file that I'm sure you'd be able to edit to fit whatever tax program that you're using if it's not either ProConnect Tax Online or Lacert. And again, if you were to choose either create a new return or update an existing return, we'll just go ahead and send that information to our ProConnect Tax Online product with all of those figures automatically filled out for the form, so it's ready to go. Right. So I know that that was a bit of a whirlwind here, went kind of quickly, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that folks on the line might have.
Thank you, Kristen. Yeah, we've had a few questions popping up about this presentation. First, I want to say thank you for bringing this information to us. Now, one of the questions I have is when is Prep for Taxes available? There's been a couple of people saying they don't have the option yet.
Oh, yes, yes, and that is expected. Just so you know, we are hard at work building it as we speak,
Right.
and we are trying to launch this to all of our customers around the end of January, middle to end. So you can look for that soon.
Okay, thank you. And will the standard trial balance still be around, or is this replacing that entirely?
Well, it is replacing the trial balance product, but not to worry, there is still a trial balance report in the reporting section. It's just the product that was intended to help with finding and fixing issues as well as mapping those items to the tax form. That is what is being replaced.
Okay, so that trial balance is still available, trial balance report.
The report itself, definitely.
Thank you. All right. Now, I do have a question that says, can the add note and the add attachment features available on other trial balance reports for month-end closes, or is it just for year-end?
Wonderful question, and that is hot and heavy on our minds. Right now, the product is really optimized for the year-end tax case that for the tax accountants as they're trying to fix that books on an annual basis. But we've received a lot of feedback from customers, especially bookkeepers, that they would love to use this tool on a monthly basis as they're reconciling those amounts and making sure everything is correct. And while that won't be ready at launch, it definitely is something that we want to work toward.
Perfect, thank you. Now, does this work exclusively with the ProConnect, or is it going to feed into any other actual tax software, ProSeries, Lacert, any other of the Intuit products that we use?
Definitely. So right now it works best as the QuickBooks Online application with our online tax product, ProConnect Tax Online. The CSV export that I showed in near the last screen there, that's intended to give you that file so that you can upload it to those desktop applications or applications outside the system. But definitely it's the most seamless if you were to use our online solution.
So that CSV file you were talking about, can that currently be imported into ProSeries? Is that being developed?
That can be imported into the Lacert program without any sort of edits. You can just download it and upload right to Lacert. For ProConnect, I believe you might need to adjust some of the data in there in order to upload to that program. But it is, again, in a CSV format. All the data is in independent columns, and so it's pretty easy to adjust as needed.
Awesome, awesome. And I have one last question. If we've already mapped accounts to tax lines through the trial balance, will we need to do it again, or does the old setup, the old lines, carry from year to year?
That is something that we're working on hard right now, is making sure that we can migrate all of your existing mappings to the new product. So yeah, that's something that we're working toward.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, I'd like to thank you for presenting today. And again, to let our audience know, our participants, our accountant partners, please make sure that we're using that question log. Kristen's going to be looking for your questions. I'm going to be providing those to her. And we want to make sure we get all of your questions answered. And I'd like to thank you again, Kristen, for presenting today.
Sure thing. Thanks.
So our next feature today is called Client Overview, and it's basically a snapshot of the client's books with aggregate data, which is intended to help you be more confident in your pricing for your services and to help you win a new client's business. Our presenter today is Vincent Coe, and he is also in our Mountain View office. Vincent has been with Intuit for about a year. He has a passion about learning about user problems, building prototypes, and getting user feedback. That voice of the customer is always important to us. And he's a member of our QBOA team. Vincent, I'd like to thank you for presenting today.
Hi, Wayne. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to talk to you about our new client overview experience today. This experience is designed with one goal in mind. This is to help you quickly understand the state of the client's books when you onboard a new client so you can price your services more accurately and ultimately win their business. Before I start the demo, I'd like to give you some context as to how Client Overview was born. We have been talking to accountants around the world about how they onboard a new client, and we've learned three things. First, when a new client comes to you, it's very rare that their books are in the perfect condition. A lot of times when they come to you, you know that they are falling behind. So when you engage with a new client, when you go into the client's books for the first time, you want to start with reviewing their books just to evaluate how much work there to do to clean up their books and how much work there to do to support this client on an ongoing basis. And you're going to use what you find in that books review process to price your services. Secondly, we found that this books review process can be very time consuming. Sometimes this is going to take you up to 3 to 4 hours because it's a very manual process. Lastly, we also heard from accountants saying that they don't always uncover all the mistakes in the initial review. So sometimes they underestimate the amount of work and underprice their services. And when that happens, either you have to go back to your clients and charge them more than what you had originally quoted them, or you absorb the cost. So today, I'm going to show you how the new client overview experience is going to help you solve these problems. Awesome. So now I'm going to show you how the client overview is going to help you solve these onboarding problems. So imagine you have a new prospect, Sally, and you're trying to win her business as a new client. The first call with Sally goes really well. So she gives you access to her books. So now you can do your initial assessment. So now let's click into Sally's books for the first time. And now you land on the dashboard of Sally's books. So we know in the past, For you to get started evaluating Sally's books, some of you will probably click on Banking tab just to see how many bank and credit card accounts she has, how up-to-date these accounts are. Some of you might get started looking into the balance sheets and profit and loss reports. You don't really know what to expect unless you take a deeper dive into her books. What you know is that this is going to take you some time. But now with the new client's overview experience, you're going to see this overview tab in the nav. So now let's click on overview tab. So what you see now is a page that gives you a snapshot of Sally's books. This page is going to give you all the relevant information to help you quickly understand the state of Sally's books. We'll start with showing you how Sally's QuickBooks is set up. So you can see that she has payroll and sales tax enabled. This is going to help you understand whether you need to quote additional services for Sally. In the app sections, we'll show you what kind of apps are connected to Sally's QuickBooks accounts. So for example, here you can see that she has Square connected to her QuickBooks. So this is going to help you understand, all these data flowing into QuickBooks is coming, where those data is coming from. And this is also the opportunity for you to understand what other apps that she's not using and maybe Sally should consider. So this company setup section is really designed to give you the information you need to start that initial engagement so you can have a better conversation with Sally. Below that, we'll be showing you the banking activity. This is the card where we aggregate all the data you need to see how up-to-date the credit card and bank accounts are. We know in the past, for you to understand how current these accounts are, you probably would go to Banking tab, look at how many accounts she has, how up-to-date they are. You might have to go to the Reconcile tab to see how many transactions that haven't been reconciled. You may also run the reconciliation summary report just to see how recently each of the accounts has been updated, has been reconciled. But now with this banking card, we're pulling all the relevant information to give you one view, which is to help you understand how current these accounts are. For example, now you can see that Sally has a total of 5 credit card and bank accounts. For each of the accounts, you can see that she had, you can see her bank balance, QuickBooks balance, number of the unaccepted transactions, number of the unreconciled transactions. For each of the accounts, you can see how up to date, how recently they have been reconciled. And then the section below is common issues. These are the issues that small business owners don't even know they're issues. So this is a very powerful view to see how much work that you need to do to clean up these accounts. For example, that you can see that in this case, Sally has a bunch of unclear transactions in undeposited funds. So what that means is she probably doesn't really know how to use the accounts properly. So you probably, not only that you want to help her fix these transactions, but also you probably want to teach her, give her training on how to use this account properly. Something that you might want to consider building into your cost in your engagement letter. In addition to that, you can see how many transactions that happen that are uncategorized. You can see the status of her opening balance equity, negative asset and liability accounts as well. At the bottom of the section, there are access points to chart of accounts, as well as balance sheets and profit and loss reports. So this is going to help you get you where you want to go in fewer clicks. Best of all these data points are clickable. They are deep links, so you can click one level down to see the details behind it. And so again, Client's Overview is designed with one goal in mind. This is to help you quickly understand the state of the client's books when you onboard a new client, so you can price your services more accurately and ultimately win their business. So far, a lot of accountants have told us that this feature is saving them a lot of time. And I think more importantly, your goal of becoming a trusted advisor is even easier with this feature, because You can see at a quick glance where the trouble spots are and then make recommendations much quicker than doing a full file review using all different reports. So if you haven't had a chance to explore our new overview tab, please give it a try, and we welcome all the feedback that you have for us. You can submit your feedback through this feedback widget on the top of the page. With that, I would like to open it up for questions.
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you for bringing this feature. I do have some questions. Now, this feature, this client overview in the product, is it available to all realms? Is it U.S.? Is it available to everybody in the U.S., or is it being rolled out?
Yes, so this feature is now live and available to all QuickBooks Online accounting users across all regions. So you'll be able to find this feature when you go into your client's books. And this feature is only available to power users like you guys, like accountants. This is not available to small business owners.
Okay, so only the accountants can see it, and so their clients, when they log into their company, they don't see that overview tab. Is that correct?
That's correct, because this feature is really designed to help accountants save time. So we are only opening this feature to accountants.
Awesome. And is this available to the team members, or is it only available to the main accountant, that is the pro accountant for the firm?
This will be this is available to all QBO users, including team members, as long as you log into the client's books from the QBO platform. So it is available to accountants as well as their team members.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Well, I want to go ahead and thank you for presenting this feature today. Again, and remind everybody listening that we can use that question log. I see that we have feedback coming in and additional questions. Those additional questions will be provided to Vincent, and he will be responding to those questions, and they should be available on the In the Know Hub web page within 7 to 10 days, along with a recording of this webinar. Our next presenter today is going to be talking about project profitability. The ability to track your job's profitability, including your team's labor costs. And our presenter today is Pavan Singh, and he has been with Intuit for 4 years. He's in our Mountain View office, and he is the product manager on the QuickBooks Online team, and he loves to help small business make more money. And with that, we're going to say thank you for presenting today, Pavan.
Thank you so much, Wayne. Really excited to be here and grateful for the opportunity to share this content with our amazing accountants and pro advisors. So thank you everyone for having me today. I want to do a small recap of the history of this feature called Projects before we jump in. So we launched Projects in QuickBooks Online a little over a year ago to help small businesses organize their finances by job. And our mission was, helping them create projects so that they can organize, the income and expenses within projects. And then to be able to track time against this project, so they could do that, with QuickBooks Online, we have single time activity and weekly timesheets, or customers could also use, T-sheets, which is a part of the QuickBooks family now. And using T-sheets, you can also bring in your timesheet data into projects. And then what we had launched last year also allowed you to run quick reports to understand the project's profitability or the unbilled time on the project and so on. But one of the biggest pieces of feedback we heard from all of you was the fact that the profitability, and I've highlighted this one here, was actually not complete picture of somebody's job's profitability. That profit margin was lacking, and the reason it was lacking was because we did not have support to include labor costs or time costs. The biggest piece of expense on any professional or field service business is actually the time that their team is spending on the job, and we were not factoring that in. So we have been hard at work with our partners inside T-Sheets and Payroll, QuickBooks Payroll, to make sure we are plugging in that gap. And we have really appreciated your patience all this while waiting for the arrival of job costing. So I wanted to first of all give you a big round of thanks for waiting. But if you haven't turned on projects yet, and if you're hearing about this feature for the very first time, here is where you can go in product and turn it on. So if you go in QuickBooks Online and go in Accounts and Settings, go under Advanced, there's a section called Projects. And if you click there, you can turn it on, and it helps you turn on projects, and it starts showing up in the left navigation menu. So let me begin by a round of thanks and gratitude to all our accountant partners and the ProAdvisor community. And the reason is you've been patiently waiting for job costing. And second is you've dealt with so many creative workarounds like class tracking, like sub-customers, and they all have their pros and cons. But we want to tell you we are heavily invested in projects. So if the content that we show you today is going to get you fired up, this might be the time to start moving to projects, start exploring it. What I'm showing you today is a sneak peek of what's arriving in early 2019. I'm not saying if you go and turn on projects today, you're going to get this experience, because we are still to launch it, but it's going to start rolling out in early 2019. So let's buckle up, let's get ready. So labor costs, like I said, are the biggest pieces which were missing inside projects. We had everything else. You could create a project, you could track the income and expenses, and you could track time. These are existing capabilities that existed within projects. Here is what we are adding now. So if you are only using QuickBooks Online, you will be able to use employee hourly cost rates to help understand your team's time costs. So you don't need to necessarily have payroll with QuickBooks to enjoy the benefit of job costing or see the profitability of your project. But if you have QuickBooks Online and you're using payroll with us, it could be enhanced or full service payroll. Then we will bring in that payroll data, break down the payroll wages and taxes by project, so you can see them within the project. So again, there are two flavors of this solution. If you do not have payroll, it still works. And if you have payroll, we bring in those payroll costs. And in a little bit, I'm going to show you what the difference there really is. Again, you can track time with QuickBooks Online. You can also use T-Sheets by QuickBooks to track time. Again, you don't necessarily have to use T-Sheets to start enjoying project profitability. So the way we are solving this need is, first of all, through our timesheets. And one of the biggest improvements we are making to the timesheet experience within QuickBooks is adding pay items on timesheets. So if you see this timesheet, the weekly timesheet, it now has a list of pay items. So from here, you will be able to select whether this time that I'm spending on Amy's bird sanctuary and doing design for this is regular, overtime, or vacation for Candice, my employee. And I can indicate this on either the single or the weekly timesheet. And when I do that, this data goes into QuickBooks Online. It is tagged to the project. Now it could be a different project like Sweet 16 celebration, and now this time is billable. You can indicate whether this time is billable or non-billable. That's an existing feature in QuickBooks. But what we are allowing people to do now is to actually tell us what is the cost of this time, right? And if you're using payroll with us, then pay items will be brought onto the weekly timesheets, and now you'll be able to see the payroll cost, right? Was this regular pay? Was this overtime? Was this vacation? And so on. So that is a key piece, connecting QuickBooks Online to QuickBooks Payroll so that you can see your labor costs. And the second piece that I wanted to show is, here is the sequence in which you can enjoy, analyzing your project. So once you've entered in the time for your team or your employees, you can go ahead and run payroll. There isn't a change to the experience inside payroll. Payroll will get all the data from QuickBooks Online timesheets, and you can go ahead, punch in those aggregate hours, and then run payroll just like you were doing yesterday. There's no change to the payroll experience. But after you run payroll, when you come back to a project, you will be able to see the payroll costs broken down by project. And that is what is really project profitability, or seeing your job costs within the project. So there's no experience change within payroll, and that is what I wanted to highlight here. Now, the way we are going to break down the payroll cost by project is this overview tab that is a recent addition to projects. So again, these are things that I'm showing to you which are arriving in early 2019. They're not there yet, but there's a lot of goodness which is coming. So if you see this experience, it has income minus cost equal to profitability, and it makes it really, really clear where your costs are going or how much income is coming to your project. Again, the profit margin is indicated clearly, and then when you see here under costs, payroll costs are called out separately. So now you can see how your payroll wages or your employer taxes are breaking down to this project. And that is really the meat of the feature here. The second thing which I wanted to mention was how is it going to work if you're not using payroll? So to solve that, our team took on that challenge, and we approached that with hourly cost rates. So we've implemented a way for customers to indicate to us how much their employees cost on an hourly basis. So I'm showing this screenshot to you here. If you see this drawer, we've allowed people to enter what is the hourly cost rate by employee, right? And so you can see, even for the benefit of making things really explicit and easy for customers, we've broken out the key components of what can make up an hourly employee cost. It can be wages, it can be employer taxes, which includes the Social Security and the Medicare contributions. Again, there are SUTA and FUTA, which are additional employer taxes. There could be workers' comp. There could be anything else under the sun, that you want to put as overhead per hour. So really, it goes a little bit beyond payroll, in the sense that if you think your employee costs you more than what you think payroll, what you pay them in payroll per month, you can include that cost here. So this gives you that capability. And that's how, if you're not using QuickBooks Payroll, you can still get the benefit of job costing. Again, the next screenshot is just showing you, once I've saved all the employee costs here, I can save and see all my employees and their cost rates. And then the overview tab will again explain the project's overall profitability. If you're not using payroll, we're going to call this hourly time costs. And that's a way for you to understand, okay, I had entered in hourly cost rates for these employees. And then now that there are timesheets that I've entered for Isla, she entered in like 10 hours of work. I know her cost rate is $65.21. Multiply that with 10 hours, so it's around $652 of cost coming from the time that Isla is spending. Now there isn't really money movement happening here, because we just asked you for a cost rate and you entered it, so it's not really a posting transaction. But that was one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we got from our users when we were testing it with them. They said, hey, I don't care if it's a posting transaction or not. If it's a time cost on my project, I need to see it. So that's why it's available here. Again, we are also making some other improvements to projects to help users know how their projects are doing at any point of time. And so there's an upgraded all projects page, and that's showing all the profit margins in a very visual way. So users at any point of time, they know how they are doing. There are also some new reports to help you understand the time spent by the team on the job. So on this one, there's a new time cost report which we are adding to projects, and this time cost report is going to detail out all the time activities and the approximate costs coming from those cost rates. So you can have an in-the-moment view of how your time costs are trending. So this is really the bundle of improvements that we are shipping to projects in the coming new year 2019. and we will keep you posted on how the rollouts are going to go. But this webinar, I wanted to take the opportunity to actually show you a sneak peek of this and get some of your early impressions and feedback. And of course, we'll keep you posted when this is about to start rolling out. So I think we are open for questions, Wayne.
Awesome, Pavan. First, I want to thank you for bringing this information to us, and just kind of a quick recap. I know you said it, but this feature, all of these features that you're talking about today, not quite ready. They're expected to be seen early in 2019. Is that correct?
That's right. Early 2019 is when we are targeting to have this rolled out.
All right, perfect. And will this be available only in certain subscriptions? Is it available to all versions of QuickBooks Online?
This will be available for QuickBooks Online Plus and
okay.
QuickBooks Online Advanced.
Perfect. And so I'm just real quickly, if we can, what does projects do differently than classes? Because I've had a couple of people ask. They seem very similar, and wondering if maybe we're missing something. Can you expand on that for us?
Got it. So I think classes are also one way that, classes have become a very creative workaround for folks who want to do analysis on how their business is doing by cutting, things across dimensions. But because we only had classes in the product, we did not have something like projects. It was not always intuitive for, customers to begin their journey in QuickBooks unless somebody had explained it to them that, you can use classes for doing this. So all in all, I think accountants and the accountant community is awesome that they've been evangelizing these solutions like class tracking, etc. But they were not really meant for customers in the sense that they were not intuitive. I think people get them once they can learn them. But really, classes are meant to do some higher order analysis on your business. Like, for example, you could use classes to do analysis on services that you're selling, right? As opposed to doing an analysis on projects that you are doing. Now, projects could be composed of services, but now if we have projects and you use classes to do services, you're doing a lot of awesome analysis instead of just relying on classes for doing a lot of job analysis, which will end up crowding the classes, because now we are able to free up classes to do that service-based analysis instead of hobbling class tracking with doing job costing, which is creative but was not exactly meant to be that.
Excellent, thank you. And just to recap, I know that this is in the projects feature, and projects is available in QBOA, and it's not really a client facing, or is projects client facing in QBO?
So I'll try to. I think I would love a clarification on the question, but I'll try to interpret what it means. So I think. Right now, we have not turned on projects for clients by default.
Gotcha.
If you see, when I began the presentation, I started out with saying, hey, if you haven't turned on projects, you can go and turn it on. So we are still encouraging users to turn it on themselves. At some point in 2019, we will turn it on by default for everyone. But if you want to go ahead and experience the early access, you can still try projects. Now, what I showed today in the presentation is not going to be there until early 2019. But
right.
I think a lot of accountants have been using sub-customers or class tracking. And if you've been on the fence about using projects, we kind of want to push you and nudge you to move to projects slowly. And with that intent, we are encouraging everybody to start using projects, because job costing is coming for serious to projects.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much, Pavan. Thank you for your time today. And remind you to download the handout. You can either download it through the go to webinar control panel. It's the little page. It's typically the bottom icon in that control panel. Or you can go to this link, and I'll leave this open for just about another 30 seconds to make sure you have an opportunity to grab that. Your steps for the features that have been in here, steps about updating addresses and the multiple logos, all of those steps, including all the additional learning resources for accountants and your clients, is contained within that handout. If you have any feedback about that handout, please provide that through the question log, and I will make sure that we exercise and action that feedback that you're providing to us. Again, here's just some quick links, some of the links that are contained within that handout and in the follow-up email that will be sent about an hour after the conclusion of this webinar. Again, we'd like to thank you for attending. Remind you again, we will be back in February, but until then, thank you for letting us serve you, and thank you for being the champion for your clients.